Bob, have you been to Leinster before?
No, I've never been to Leinster. I've been to Laverton. It's the only one of the Northwest joints or racecourses I've been to. Leinster and Leonora have eluded me, but I'm led to believe they're both. Leinster particularly a great day, a very unique circuit. It's probably the smallest circuit in WA, about 1,300 metres round, I reckon, with a straight. So it's a different type of track, but apparently a lot of fun. So here we're giving away a couple of tickets.
We've got 2 tickets this week to give away to Leinster Cup. This is 2 tickets on the plane to Leinster. It leaves at about 7 a.m. on Saturday morning because, unfortunately, due to the weather hampering the meeting, they are having to start a little bit earlier. But this one from Greg L. I'm just chasing roughly 30 words or less. The reason why we should pick you to head up to Leinster this weekend. This one from Greg L. The Everest, Caulfield Cup or Leinster Cup on the same day. It's no choice, really. Leinster wins hands down. Give me the dust flying. A bush chalk, the local crowd, and I'm yours. That's from Greg L. So
there we go. Great stuff, Greg.
Similar to that, if you'd like to head to Leinster on that double ticket this weekend, just get in contact with us.
Yeah, keep those texts coming in. As you heard, 2 tickets for the flight up to Leinster. I haven't been up there. I'm wondering if our next guest has been up there. Hayden King did a bit of travelling back in the day to call it a few of the country race venues. Good afternoon, Haydos. Have you been up to Leinster before?
No, you've covered more of the countryside than I have, Alex, and it has also eluded me. Is Royce Newton calling?
Yeah, Royce does now. I did a few of those when he was up in Korea, but it's his gig now, and he'll be up there making the trip north of Kalgoorlie to Leinster this weekend. But let's turn our attention to Gloucester Park. What do you make of the program on Friday, mate?
Got a good couple of portents heading towards some of the big races over the coming weeks. There's a free-for-all, which is probably a dip down on what we've seen recently. But we've got the Western Gateway pace for the 3-year-olds. That's going to be an important harbinger of what's to come heading toward the Derby. The Schrader is a very interesting mares race, and a couple of other supplementing races which deserve their accreditation as well. And then, of course, on the Eastern Seaboard on Saturday night, all eyes on the Vic Cup there. So there's plenty of harness action over the weekend.
Okay, let's touch on the Vic Cup before we look locally here to Gloucester Park. What do you make of that field?
Again, Leap to Fame has drawn one of the worst possible gates he could get, and that is 8. He's drawn inside of the second row. He's got an uncanny knack for these inside draws. Any other horse, he would be absolutely blessed. But it's an utter disaster for him because he lacks that little bit of gate speed, and it puts a little bit of luck into the equation, whereas he's a horse who generally makes his own, and that robust running style has made him such a force over recent weeks. Suffered that shock defeat at the hands of the ageing veteran Bulletproof Boy, who's a rising 11-year-old. At his 215th start last week, he turned in a blinder and a career-best effort when he sprinted over the top of Leap to Fame. And
Hayden,
he was on his merits too.
Can I ask you about that? Bulletproof Boy, $34 here. Leap to Fame, $1.70. I know last week Leap to Fame was $1.04 and was run down. What do you put that defeat down to? Is it just an off night? Was it something to be worried about, considerably worried about heading into a Victoria Cup?
He didn't go badly, but on his best form, you would expect him to win. It was similar to that Redcliffe race going back about a year and a half ago when District Attorney came off his back and he just zapped him for speed. And also under consideration is that Leap to Fame only flew into Victoria the night before. So he hadn't had a great preparation heading into the race. I think he'll be tightened up this week and he'll be a different beast. I'd expect him to win, and if I was having a bet on the race, it would certainly be him.
Okay, looking forward to it. What about locally? Let's touch on this Western Gateway. As you mentioned, the Group 3, the feature of the night here at Gloucester Park on Friday night. Better Fortune, the favourite at the moment on Tab Touch, 260 and 130 ahead of Troubadour number 1 at 340 and 130. Fairly intriguing race at the top of the betting.
Yeah, Troubadour's come in, $7.50 down to $3.40, and that was the way I was looking at first glance, because I don't think there's a heap of difference between Troubadour and Better Fortune. I'd give the advantage marginally to Better Fortune because I think he's got a bit more brilliance and he can sprint a bit sharper than Troubadour. But 2,500 metres, gate number 1, he could really serve it up to some of those key hopes for the Derby on Friday night, Troubadour, and I think that support is well placed. I'd expect him to take a fair bit of stitching. Chase Me, again, just growing accustomed to the Gloucester Park circuit, proved his undoing last week when they sprinted home and he was a bit cumbersome rounding the corner. A Better Fortune needs no introduction. He's won all 5 of his WA starts since arriving in the state, and he's understandably the favourite for the Derby, and he can win this Friday, but it's going to be his greatest test. And then the Blue Army have also got belly up engaged. Lincoln Lou's as fast as any horse in the race, but he's got the job ahead from 7. He'll be taken back, I'm sure, and driven with a patient steer to try and get a better alley in the Derby. And then Runkle Crunch, Boy Blue, who's also pretty fast, and Elite Fleet, who fleetingly looked one of the winning chances last time out, providing a cast of able and worthy contenders for the race, but fringe hopes at best.
You mentioned Lincoln Lou in your summation there of this 5th event at Gloucester Park, the Group 3 Gateway, the Western Gateway. This one off the Retrovision text line from Sam of Dunsborough. He says, does Kingy think Lincoln Lou is up to winning a WA Derby? He seems to find some trouble most starts. $14 here on Friday night.
He can win the Derby. I'd be surprised if he won this week, but he can win the Derby. He needs a draw, but he'll eat up the 2,500 metres off a cold sit and he'll sprint as sharp as a tack. So I'd be keeping it powder dry for the big one, but I do think he's capable of collecting that Group 1, which is at the end of the month.
Okay, what about earlier on in the night on Friday night, this Taste of WA Janet Donnelly Pace? This is an intriguing affair, plenty of class. We see Swingband take on Never Ending and Captain Ravishing, and Lusaka as well is in the market but has drawn quite awkwardly. What do you make of this contest? It's one where there's probably a fair few scenarios that could unfold.
Well, the key is here that Lindsay Harper's got 2 runners in the race. He's got Captain Ravishing, who's drawn 12, and he's got Chivalry, who's drawn 1. Now, Chivalry's outclassed. He won't win this race. But he could certainly provide an obstacle for a horse like Swingband, who's going to be bang there from the outset challenging, and then even others like Lusaka, Bricky's Dream, and it'll also be a condition of where Armour X Factor gets to in the run. So there's a few things to play out. Captain Ravishing was very good second time out. And in terms of superficial looks, he had trimmed up noticeably for that second outing, and he'd sweated up much less, and he looked far more professional. He got around Gloucester Park actually okay too. He sprinted quite straight up the home running, which has proven a problem for him in the past, even on bigger circuits, which was good to see. So he's got undeniable winning claims. Swingband, if he can forge his way to the front, he'll take some beating. And even from the draw, given the conditions of the race, he's going to be up there from the outset. Never Ending's been as good as could be hoped in his 2 runs back. He'll be nearing a peak now, third up, but it again just looks a race that's going to be very difficult for him. He needs a random barrier draw assignment, or at least to shed some of those prize money from his recent starts. And then Lusaka as well, who's been racing well. Bricky's Dream's gradually growing accustomed to free-for-all racing, and he's getting better every time he goes out there. He's one for the future. And he could be a sniper in one of these big races with a better draw.
Looking a little bit later on, we get to see Racklew go around as well at $1.28 at the moment on Tab Touch. Did open at $1.22, did this mare?
Yeah, she should win. She's pretty good, Racklew. She was a good thing beaten first up, only got beaten 1.5 metres in a race that couldn't have been run any worse for her. And then at stages last time out, her tractability fleetingly looked like it might hamper her ability to take the race out, but eventually she got organised and she was way too classy for those rivals. And again, I think she's got a class edge over these. If she ever was able to organise herself and make herself more convincing around the Gloucester Park circuit, she could threaten these upper ranks of the mares, some of those horses going around in the Schrader earlier on. But I doubt she ever will, which is going to hold her back. But she should win on Friday. There's a few others in there that are place chances, but I'd be surprised if they beat her.
What about the Schrader, the Group 3? It's another race where a fair few of the main chances have drawn awkwardly. How did you see it playing out?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Sweet Vivian's drawn the inside, and she was crossed recently by Heavenly Gypsy. But there could be a little bit of heat in between those two as well. Little Darling, who shapes up now for Cam Ross, which is an interesting acquisition. I don't think Wonderful to Fly will get too active from 5. Her best asset now at this stage of her career in these fields is her speed. Heavenly Gypsy, again, if she does find the front, I think she'd be much better than last time. She disappointed me a bit last start because she only ran 4th. And although she was stung at a couple of stages, I think she should have been able to take that race out at her best. So I'd be expecting improvement from her. Sweet Coco's graduating. 9 hurts, but she's one I've really been following in recent weeks, and I've been pushing for her to go to this level of race. Penny Black's got an awkward draw in 10. Her best asset is her strength, and then Artie by the Seaside, who couldn't have done any more in her 2 starts back, and I'd say there's further improvement in her as well, so I'm loath to rule her out. So that early speed over the first 150 metres could tell a tall tale.
Hayden, we're looking forward to catching up with you on Friday Drive. Thanks to Snooze with the King's question. Appreciate your time here on Wednesday Drive, though. We'll talk to you in a couple of days' time.
Okay.
Thanks, mate.